State versus Rory Allen Gregory, 17-333. Pardon me. Aggravated assault, criminal mischief, fleeing, reckless driving, criminal attempt to commit some crime, a Class B felony, a D felony. Mr. Gregory, I have appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You appear for an arraignment. How does he plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty, and when will we be having pre-trials?
November 9th, Your Honor.
You'll have a pre-trial hearing, Mr. Gregory, on November 9th. Anything else?
Not today, Judge.
Okay. You may stand aside. Thank you, sir. State versus Michael Glavish, 17-332. Possession of drug paraphernalia. Sir, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And is he also appearing for an arraignment?
Yes, Your Honor. He pleads not guilty.
We'll enter the plea of not guilty. Appear before Judge Webb on August 31st at time is 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock. Okay.
Judge, just for the record, I spoke with Mr. Glavish this morning. We did not know at that point in time whether a parole hold was filed. There is one filed. So bond is not an issue for today's purposes. We'll need to take that up with Judge Webb next week
Okay.
and determine the status of the hold at that time.
Very well. That's all we can do today, sir. Thank you. State versus James Snedeker, 17-327. Possession of paraphernalia. Possession of controlled substance with purpose to deliver. Sir, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And you appear for an arraignment. How does he plead?
Not guilty.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty. Have a pre-trial on November 9th at 10 o'clock or soon thereafter as we can get to it. And is there anything else to be taken?
Judge, just for the record, I met with Mr. Snedeker at the jail this morning, and I need to inform him that a petition to revoke a previous sentence in Division 4 has been filed, but I don't think it's been served on him yet. So
Okay.
that will happen before next week, and he can be arraigned then.
Did you understand that, sir, or hear it?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay, did you hear what Mr. Bailey said?
Yes.
Okay. They filed a petition to revoke on a previous case.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, that's all we can do today, sir. Thank you.
James, you'll be in front of Judge Webb next week on that revocation, okay?
So I can't get it on?
Not today, because they just filed the petition.
Thank you.
State versus Chad Merriman, 17-326, residential burglary, violation of an order of protection, criminal mischief, and fleeing.
I met with Mr. Merriman this morning, Your Honor. It's my understanding that he might be retaining a private attorney.
Okay.
He did not fill out an application this morning.
All right. Okay, sir, are you plan to hire an attorney?
Yes, my family met Monday. It's safe, probably better go. That's the reason why I got my bond. Supposed to be-
Sir. Okay, I can't understand you. You're either going to have to get
Okay.
closer or farther away from the microphone. I don't know what the problem is.
Okay. My lawyer, my sister, he dropped me. Why I have the my bond was, I have no bond now, but he's picking my case back up.
Okay,
Just talked to him Monday, and he's supposed to be picking it up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he's not in court today.
one moment. Well, your case is before Judge Webb. I'm gonna have you appear before him on August 31st at 9 o'clock. And who is your lawyer, sir? I'm not understanding you. It maybe the Skype's not working. Or,
Let it go?
oh, okay, all right. But I'll have you appear for arraignment and attorney status on August 31st.
All right.
Okay. All right, thank you. State versus Ryan Osham, 17-301, residential burglary, criminal mischief. Okay, sir, I've appointed the public defender's office to represent you, and it looks like he's already entered a plea of not guilty before Judge Webb, and Judge Webb reduced his bond, it looks like. Is there anything else to be done?
Judge, we'd request a further bond reduction. I'm not sure what it was reduced to last time.
Here, it's 10,000.
Judge, this is a case that will be before this court moving forward. Mr. Osham was born in 1991. He's lived in Mountain Home for the last 3 years on Buzzard Roost Road here in Mountain Home. He rents a trailer here in town, and he lives with an individual that he works with doing lawn care services in the area. He's asked that I request that the court consider a OR bond for him. He indicates to me that he does not have any prior felony convictions, that there might be some misdemeanors in the past, but no felony convictions. I think based on his lack of criminal history, his length of time here, and his ties to the community as far as work and a residence to live in, make him a candidate for an OR bond.
This is a Class B felony. This is a residential burglary. It's a very serious crime. The $10,000 bond, state argued on August 3rd that a $25,000 bond was reasonable. Judge Webb reduced that some 3 weeks ago to $10,000. It should remain there. There's no reason. Nothing's changed about anything that's been said here today. It wasn't said on August 3rd.
Judge, I didn't argue on August 3rd, but I can tell you that just looking at the information, for what it's worth, the court's supposed to look at the allegations that are made. This was not a stranger's home. It was a home that the allegations are that he had worked in previously, that he had been provided a key to, while the allegations are that he was told not to come back. This is not a stranger's home in the middle of the night or anything like that.
Was
So,
somebody living in the home?
I don't think, no, Judge, this was a,
You know.
I think it's somebody's home, Judge. It's an occupiable structure.
So
Judge,
they-
Mr. Bailey may not have been here arguing. I was certainly here in this courtroom, and all of this was indicated at the last time Judge Webb met with this gentleman and discussed this with him for 15 minutes.
Well, I'd like to know if someone was residing in the home.
But hang on.
And then
I
I'll
can
make.
call an officer and ask.
it says an ongoing issue with the defendant coming around his home, which is directly behind the house that the defendant was in. Unfortunately, my affidavit's whited out quite a bit, so that some of the subjects and verbs don't agree.
See if you can find out about that, and I'll make
Okay.
a decision.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Not, if it was a home that someone was residing in, I am not inclined to reduce the bond.
All right.
State versus Amber Eads, 17-245, possession of drug paraphernalia. Ma'am, do you have a lawyer? Okay, I can't hear you. Can
No, I just came in here last night.
do you intend to hire a lawyer or make application to the public defender's office?
Okay.
Did you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, I can't hear you. Do you intend to hire a lawyer or make
Yes.
application to the public defender's office?
public defender's office.
Okay. Pick up an application, fill it out, and turn it in. I'll have you reappear on September 7th for arraignment and attorney status, 10 o'clock, September 7th. That's all we can do right now. Thank you. State versus Justin Lee, 17-229, possession of drug paraphernalia and improper muffler. Purchase tags, several driving offenses. Or driving related offenses, I should say. Okay, sir, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you when you're appearing for an arraignment. How does he plead?
That's where he was. Judge, he has already entered a plea, is that
He
correct?
has, I don't know.
If he hasn't, we'll enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf. We'd like
Okay.
to be heard on bond.
We'll enter the plea of not guilty and, let's see. We'll have a pretrial in his case on November 9th. And what did you want to say, sir?
Judge, it appears to me that there was a failure to appear issued earlier in this matter, although it had to have been relatively recent because the case number is relatively new. Mr. Lee and I met this morning. He indicated that he was in a mental health facility in Batesville on the date that he was supposed to have been in court, that he doesn't have any holds on him other than this failure to appear, and that he could bond out on a $2,500 bond if the court would set that for him. I think that's appropriate based on the allegations.
Your Honor, he failed to appear on June 29th in this courtroom. We don't have any documentation of that, if he can obtain something like that. This was actually a read-only warrant at the time. He just, his deficiency is with this court, not with any bondsman. We just need some documentation that he just didn't ignore this court date.
Okay, if it's a read-only, had he been released or had he bonded?
He hadn't even, when I spoke with him this morning, he didn't know that he was supposed to be in court that day because he was in the hospital. So I imagine that they read it to him before he went into the hospital, gave him that court date.
Did he get out on a bond?
No, he never bonded.
He's not out on bond, Judge, but
It was
the
a
warrant was a read-only warrant.
Like a ticket.
It was read to him, and he failed to appear on June 29th. I'm being told that he was in a hospital. I haven't seen any documentation.
So it was a criminal summons?
Yes.
Oh,
All we need is something showing that he was actually in the hospital.
what is your title, ma'am?
I'm his girlfriend.
Oh, I thought you said old lady.
Well, that's what I meant, but, I had an Edward State who was in the hospital at home.
Where do you live, ma'am?
He sells it.
In Salesville. Can you get that to us before the close of business today, you think?
Okay, well, I'll set the bond at $2,500 in condition of which he produces a copy of this paperwork to the prosecutor's office.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And anything else?
No, Your Honor.
That'll be all, sir. Thank you. State versus Jesse Bowman, 17-208, possession of controlled substances, drug paraphernalia, excuse me, some driving-related offenses.
Your Honor, Mr. Bowman had indicated last week, and we just ran out of time, that he wanted to enter a plea. I think rather than bring him over today to do that, Jesse, I'll come over to the jail and visit with you, and I'll bring a plea offer and we'll go over it so you'll have time to review it, okay?
Won't be able to sign it today?
Judge, we can bring him over if he's insistent.
I'm ready to sign, and I'm about to start a death over here.
Please bring him over, Judge.
We'll transport you to the courthouse, sir.
Thank you, sir.
State versus James Lally, 17-290. It looks like it's a revocation on a theft by receiving. All right, Mr. Bailey's going to represent you today. You appear for an arraignment on a petition to revoke your probationary period. How does he plead?
Not true, Your Honor. Say it again, James.
I can find out misdemeanor.
I've spoken with probation already this morning, James. They're opposed to a bond right now, so maybe next week in front of Judge Webb, they can bring that up, okay?
I'll just go ahead and set it for hearing before Judge Webb next week on August 31st at 9 a.m. You'll be coming to court in a week. Thank you. State versus Joseph Pritchard, 17-38, the revocation of theft and prosecution of credit card.
Judge, we actually do represent Mr. Pritchard in this matter. This is his arraignment letter, plea of not true.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not true. Judge Webb signed the order, so I'll set it for hearing on August 31st at 9 a.m. Anything else?
What'd you say, Mr. Pritchard? I have no idea what he said.
You had to get my bond reinstated?
You have this revocation that's filed right now, Joseph. I think that if probation would be agreeable to that would be an option, but I don't know what the state's position is.
Did he have a bond?
No, he didn't have a bond, Your Honor. We'd like to have a hearing on this gentleman. He has stolen once again from his parents or the people that, his relatives. Judge, this man was placed on probation in May. He has now stolen from the same victims in July. We'd like to have a hearing. We'd like to address the problem.
Scheduled for hearing in a week. We'll leave it at that. State versus John Shrum Jr., 17-235.
Your Honor.
Controlled substances, yes.
I'm sorry, that's quite interrupted. He's here for pretrial today. There are no other steps to be taken in that matter. There's not going to be any motions filed.
Very well. I'll leave it as scheduled. State versus Darren DeCaro, 17-259. Drug paraphernalia, manufacturing marijuana, and possession of controlled substance. Firearms for certain persons.
Mr. Caro, everything is on schedule. Mr. Chisholm and I have had conversation about this, in fact, as late as last evening. No action to take today, however.
Very well. Here he goes. State versus Jessica Lee, 17-286. Possession of controlled substances, drug paraphernalia, other related charges.
Judge, Ms. Lee has this current charge and a revocation pending as well, based on the new charges. At this point in time, there's no action to take in this matter. It's on schedule out for trial at the beginning of next year. However, since we're already on her, if we could take up the revocation.
Very well. 13-149, yes.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it's based on the new charges. If we could, I need to spend some more time with Jessica with regard to these charges. Since her next reappearance date is 11/16, we would request that the revocation date be heard on that date, and that we could potentially resolve both cases with a plea at that point in time. She is out on bond. She's meeting with me very well. We went a couple of times already, and we are today in talks to resolve both the revocation and the revocation, but we haven't had any talks about the new charges.
Judge, one moment. Can I have one?
Yes, sir.
10-5. Judge, we have an agreement that will come back on 10-5 for a revocation hearing and probable plea.
Very well. Continued on joint motion to October 5th, time excluded.
Yes, sir. We'll waive that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State versus Tommy Hitt, 17-206. It's a drug case. Also has 17-134 and 16-393.
Judge, there's no action to take today with regard to the case. far as scheduling goes, Mr. Hitt has 4 pending cases in circuit court in Baxter County. At this point in time, he's got 2 that are set for trial next week. I'm going to make a motion. The others are set for trial, I believe, in early October. I'm going to make a motion to combine all of those. I don't suspect that any of them will actually have to go to trial. If there are any speedy trial issues, of course, the defense will waive those, but that way we can resolve everything all at once, with most likely a change of plea, and if not, we can try them that week. I haven't talked to the state about this. We have a big trial docket next week. There's several of them that are older, so I'm not sure what the priority is. That's my motion for today's purposes, just to move them off of the trial docket for next week.
What says the state?
The charge we have is the possession of a firearm. It's a 16 case. The state would like to get that resolved. This is probably one of the cases that we can try pretty quickly. That case we can try. We don't have to have the crime lab or anything else. We just need the officer and some witnesses. Can I get back to you on that?
Yes.
Can I look at what the docket, I'm not sure what else. I know we have one case set for Monday that we will try. And then you're going to be here Tuesday, correct? I'm sorry, if Cobbler's set for Tuesday. What do you have for Monday?
Don't know. I had a civil case, but they tell me it's settled.
Okay. Well, Judge, when we get done here today, before you leave here, I'll let you know what we're going to do.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll just leave a schedule right now, and you can talk with Mr. Chisholm, and we'll make a determination of what we need to do.
Thank you, Judge.
Stay in contact with your lawyer. Sounds like something's going to be happening pretty soon.
Yes, sir.
State versus Dwayne Dean, 16-429. Burglary, theft, controlled substances. Okay, I have it. September 7th, the 21st, or October 5th.
October 5th would be fine,
Okay.
actually.
It sounds, have you met with him yet?
I have met with him early on in the case, but we have some plea negotiations we need to discuss.
All right, well, today or tomorrow, make an appointment to visit with Mr. Bailey.
Yes, sir.
16-236, Amy Wilson.
I need to talk to you about that.
Miss Wilson. This is case 17-236. I'm looking at a police statement here. Have you gone over this document?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel you understand what is in the document?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the charge against you and the range of charges, I should say, and the range of possible penalties if you're convicted?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading no contest to unlawful use of a communication device, delivery of methamphetamine? No, you're not prosecuted, aren't you? Is that correct?
Whatever that says. Your Honor.
Okay.
The delivery
I
charge,
don't
Your
have a
Honor,
file
is being
here.
null prosecuted.
Very well. So we'll back up. You're pleading no contest to unlawful use of a communication device and no contest to possession of methamphetamine. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
By entering your plea, you're giving up your right to have a trial, and you also cannot appeal. Do you understand
Yes,
that?
sir.
Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This document says that it's a plea to the court. In other words, the court is going to set your sentence. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
Now, there's some costs and fees and fines. Is that agreed upon?
No, Your Honor, it is not.
Okay. Can I mark that out?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Okay, so nobody's promised you anything to
No,
get you
sir.
to plea. Is that right? Okay. Has Mr. Cooper or anyone else threatened or pressured you to get you to change your plea?
No, sir.
And what's the factual basis for it?
Judge, it appears that on June 2nd, 2016, officers with the Baxter County Sheriff's Office in Mountain Home, utilizing a confidential informant, purchased 1.3 grams of methamphetamine from a Joshua J. Langston. And while Miss Amy C. Wilson was present, and during that place, doing that transaction for the CI to spend $150 for that amount of methamphetamine, that was arranged through cell phone communications between Mrs. Wilson and the CI. It looks like that on July 13th, when they conducted a traffic stop in which Amy Wilson was a passenger, she admitted to having methamphetamine in her bra.
Okay. I understand, ma'am, that you're not admitting these allegations. You're pleading no contest. But what Mr. Chisholm said is you're not contesting that.
No,
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, ma'am, I accept your plea of no contest and adjudge you guilty. You'll reappear before Judge Webb when?
September 28th, Your Honor.
It's September 28th at 9 a.m. for sentencing.
Okay.
Commit no crime between now